Hey there, folks. Let's go to CSSBattle.dev and do the daily target. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. If ever or ever there was. This is a conic gradient. And I think I'm going to use the nested template, which has a reminder that is using the body tag, right? I'm not creating any new elements in such a way that using the body element, what am I trying to say? What am I trying to say? To constrain the body element to put different patterns on it, right? So we have the HTML element, which is the ampersand in this deal, and then it's nested. So the only thing inside the HTML element, besides the style tag, is the body tag, and the style tag won't behave in any way other than as a hidden element because it's distinct. I forget the terminology for what the style element is, but it's not something that's going to show up. All right, so let's get the margins right. 15, 14, 13, 12, 30, 40, 30, 20, 10, 12. Oh, so it's just 12. 12, margin 12. And that gives us that. So conic gradient looks like this. And we just happen to know that it's in the top corner. And we also happen to know that I think we know it's a checkerboard, which means that all the checks are equal sized. So if I do some width, and actually I can use the measurement tool here and say that starts at 20 and it goes to 100. So it's 80 by 80. 80 pixels, 80 pixels. And I'm going to add a no repeat just for giggles. All right, so what are the pieces? It's transparent, blue, transparent, blue. And you'll note we have a weird conic gradient. But if we add 90 degrees, 0, 50%, 0, 270 degrees, 0, then we get that checkerboard, right? And because of the way this one works, we want that to be 25%. Right, rather than, so what am I trying to say? There's too many words. But essentially, you can use degrees. And I think you'd use, 3 turn or 0.75 turn? Is that right? Yeah, 0.75 turn will do it too. We don't use that in CSS Battle because that's too many characters. Why would you use that? That's silly. But 0.75 turn happens to be 75%. So that's neat. Okay. There are many CSS units that we do not talk about and do not think about, but they are there for us to use. Repeat X does it in this case. So that looks like that. Let's see if the repeating conic gradient doesn't change it at all, but I can drop that if I add 2 color stops and I get the same thing. Is that more characters or less? I don't know. Does it matter? I don't know. But let's what do we do now? So, well, can we? This is I got a friend. He's from Missouri, and they have this idea of show me state. So let's actually make that be exactly how long it is and compare. I've never done this. So in that case, the repeating is slightly shorter, right? A little bit shorter. So we'll keep that one, and we'll just nuke this guy. Clonk. So how do we do the other one? Well, we can do the same thing again. So what happens if we let it repeat? So that's no good, right? So this does not align. So we can't use the same gradient and then put like a layer of green over top of it because it's just not in alignment. But we can stash this into a CSS custom variable, just custom property, a CSS variable in common parlance. We'll call it C. We could call it anything, but we'll call it C. C var dash dash C. Boom. And then we'll do it again, var dash dash C. And you'll see that the way we have it is it's just a giant kind of gradient behind, and that's no good. We want it to be 80 pixels also. 80 pixels. And we want it to repeat X. So that's just the same thing again. Now, one thing that we don't do very often here is we can say add bottom and left as the positioning, right? Which is a certain kind of thing. Now that's no good in this case because it has to be slightly different. But so can we use this one? Yes, we can, because if we move it over, so if I do what minus, so I'm going to need, what do I need? What do I need? I need minus probably 40 pixels. So there it is, and then I need a background position Y to move it down. If I do 10, that's no good. How about 100? How about 150? 60, 70, 80. Usually so 80. So it's is that it? I think that's it. That's it. I think that's it. And that's it. So that's a nice solution. I like that solution a lot. There are optimizations to be made here, obviously. What else do we got? Let's do let's minify and unit replace. So there it is. And that's a pretty good score. Do I have it in me to do another way? You could do this and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 box shadows, right? You could do a lot of box shadows and do this, and flip it upside down. Make 2 of them and then flip the second one upside down. You want to do that? Let's do that too. Well, why not? Why not? Okay, so I'm going to make a center. I'm just going to make one. I'm going to make, so here's how I'm going to do that. I kind of did a similar solution not too long ago. We'll put the margins here, and I think we know that height is 40. 40. No, not 400. 40. And then we set margins here. 180 or something. 175. 175. 177. No, 173. 72. There it is. So we got 1. Then, if I instead do color, now I got nothing. But now if I make box shadows, and I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 box shadows. This is a silly solution, but a valuable thing in the toolkit. If I do inset 1 inch, 1 inch, I get 1. And then really it's just the math of 40 pixels, 40 pixels. There's another. And then it's 80 pixels 0. And then it's can't do math now. 80 pixels, 40 pixels. That's not right. It's 120. Of course it is. I know how to do math. But visualizing this kind of stuff is tricky. If you lose track, I feel like there's, parts of your memory where these things are held, and you don't always get it right. How about the next one is which? So another 80, so 160 pixels 0. There it is. Okay, and then the rest of these it's almost this same pattern again. So I'm going to do that, comma, and then I'm going to make some of these negative, right? So everything on the x-axis is going to be negative. So I can go minus, 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 and get the same pattern. And that's fun. Then I make another one. There it is. And then the identifier for that is the adjacent or the sibling, direct sibling plus selector. So I need to scale. I need to make him be upside down. So scale -1 will do it. And then if I add to the margins here, 40, I can move it. 100, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. And that's a perfectly acceptable way to do that. That's a fun one. So no messing about with conic gradients if that's not your bag. There are likely things we could do to tune this one. I won't go into those. Those are less interesting. I appreciate when folks share code in the comments to say you could have shaved more characters off. That's great. I don't care. That's not why I do these. But go to CSS Battle, do all the battles, do all the prior battles, make your way up the leaderboards, because that's great stuff and it's great practice. You replace, submit. I do this stuff for fun. That's why I do it. It's fun. The world is kind of a mess, and it's fun to make web things. I just love that so much. And that's it. That's how we do it. That's what I did today. This is the puzzle for Thursday. It's Wednesday for me, but it's the puzzle for Thursday because UTC time has ticked over in that part of the world. And have a great day, whichever side of the UTC date line you're on. And go make a web page and be good to yourself. Be good to others. It's not easy. It's not easy. It's a rough time. All right, bye. Get out of here.